for some of our fans to gather. There's the notification right there to everyone. And welcome live to YouTube, ladies and gentlemen, watching worldwide. As you can see, we was kind enough to get a nice little, hold on. Y'all have to excuse me a moment. I want to look at some of these comments. Here, folks. So we're going to turn these comments on. There we are. Yes, sir. Woo! Now we definitely live. Amazing. How you going to come up in here like that? I haven't even introduced you yet. Ladies and gentlemen, we are live and uncensored. Anything can happen. We got Mr. Amazing in the house right here.
Hey, what's good, y'all?
Yes, indeed. So I hope that he sounds good. I know he sounds good. I know y'all can hear him. You can't tell me you can't. And hear me. And, you know, we got 4 people here live watching. Expect more people to join in shortly. And, you know, 9 p.m. we're gonna have some fun, cover some things here as we're 1 minute in already. Yeah, you know, we got our comments there. Anybody who has any questions or any comments for our guests here tonight on the show, feel free to drop your comments in there, whatever you want to ask the man. And, you know, amazing, you know, obviously I'll throw the questions at you. And if you don't see them, you know, I'll throw the questions at you. You know, if you want to see the live, you can turn it on your phone or whatnot. You can do that. But if you need to leave, like get out of it, I'll let you know what questions, you know, because I have them on the screen. So yeah, folks, this is not about me. This is our guest tonight, Mr. Amazing. This man has been revolutionary. He's been instrumental. He's been a major deal for quite some time in CAW, not just in JTV Pro Wrestling, but all around. And, you know, we're going to have fun with the man. You get 1 hour with him. That's what we're going to get out of him. He's a busy man, so we're going to have a little fun, and we're going to talk about some things. What do I want to ask Mr. Amazing about? I told him, I teased him before this podcast started. So, before we get to that, this is Mr. Amazing's first ever JTV podcast of any kind. And as you can see there, we have a logo now for the show. Last 2 shows we had that lame ass JTV logo. Now we have an official live and uncensored background, starting with Mr. Amazing. So now that that's out of the way, I want to talk to you, and for all of you who haven't gone and finished up, I think Amazing know where I'm going. For those of you that have not watched, spoiler alert, we going in. What do you think about Endgame, man? Tell me about Endgame.
That shit was fucking fire. They couldn't have done any better. I feel like they gave us all we wanted and more. They killed that shit. I love it. I can't wait for the next Marvel. It should be Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, I believe. They've been teasing it back and forth for what's going on. I went to the movie. All of us, like most of us here, have gone and seen it. You know, the day I was going to go see it, man, like it was just raining. It was cold. I was tired. I'm like, you know what? I don't know that I want to do this. And, you know, I just decided, I was like, you know what? I'm going to get in the shower and I'm going to go, man. I want to go out. I want to have a good time. So I bounced. I did not regret it. I sat there. Yeah. No, you good. Go.
It's funny because the day I was gonna go, the day I did go, it was storming, all that shit, thunder, lightning, rain. I was like, fuck all that shit. Thanos, Avengers, I gotta see this.
Yeah, it was fucking good. It was fucking good. I loved it. I thought it was a great film. And the results is obviously showing with the I think it's 1.2 billion last I checked. It's going to grow this week. So it's getting up there, folks. So if you haven't seen, and Amazing, if you notice, was kind enough not to spoil anything. So if you haven't seen it, it's worth it. Go check it out. Avengers Endgame, available right now. Movie theaters near you. So, speaking of Avengers and speaking of this whole storyline angle, before we jump into Mr. Amazing, you know, we just slightly slid into the comic book world just a while ago. So, you know, I think it will be real fun for you to talk about this. Do you have any favorite comic books? Any specific one? Or maybe
actually, I want to say I don't know what it's called, but I know it's when they first introduced the Hulk's son. Scar. I don't. What is the name? I don't really remember the name. But I remember the story. Basically, I'm not gonna spoil anything. Y'all wanna check it out. It's old as fuck, so y'all should know. But,
so the Hulk's son.
Little synopsis. Yeah. He's when he went, you know, that Planet Hulk story when they sent him away from Earth.
Yeah.
He didn't land where he was supposed to. So he settled down eventually, and he got a girl pregnant. Then some bad shit happened. She got killed. Hulk thought, you know, it was all over. He went back to Earth, rampaging. And it turns out his son, still in the womb, survived.
Oh shit!
And it showed him growing up. He was a Hulk baby. He was fucking people up, right? Dinosaurs and shit.
Right.
So I was like, I fuck with this.
Yeah.
And he got both of their powers. He got the Hulk powers. He got the wife. She controlled like Earth and shit like that. And I thought it was pretty cool.
It sounds cool. That's weird. I never heard of no Hawk's son, but comic book world is completely different from what people are used to. Because you got to understand, to the point of what Amazing's saying, in the comic book world, there are things that happen sometimes that you don't know about because they don't put them in the movies or the TV shows or series, and they don't always follow the comic books as they should. And this is something that I've learned little by little, taking pieces and bits of different forms of entertainment, whether it be books or little VHS back in the day in my case, and whatever movies or whatever TV show you might be watching, So that's an interesting little piece of information on Mr. Amazing's part there. But what's the deal with the Hulk, man? What's so special about the Hulk?
In my opinion, or like...
Yeah, well, in your opinion, and as far as why did the Hulk specifically capture your attention? What is it about the Hulk?
I feel like there's similarities between us. And a lot of people can relate to this. It's like for him, his dark side is a whole different side.
Right.
It's not just him. Like in the movies, it's actually him. Like different emotions. Going through that. But it's like a whole different side. It's like two. Actually, I think it is like that in the movie. Two personalities living in one body. And that's actually how I came up with the crypt.
It's another interesting thing to talk about.
Yeah.
So for those of you, for those of you that are not too familiar with the JTV comic book side of things, or the CW comic book side of things, Mr. Amazing had an alter ego and has come up in JTV known as Crypt. And I don't know if it's safe to say that man's name because that man can eradicate anything in his path, But the thing is, the thing about Crypt is that, this was when we first in JTV discovered Crypt, it was an alter ego of Mr. Amazing in the 2012 era with WW12 when he had came into JTV, and we'll go more into detail into that as we progress in this podcast. I got my little chat open just so I can see you guys' questions. So we will get to a part where we will answer some questions. So feel free to drop your questions in there. We will get back to you. I see you got some questions, Funk Man. So talking to Mr. Amazing, though, I like to go into his comic book world of things now that we got a little intel on him, because I think he does kind of relate to Hulk a little bit, maybe a little bit of Hulk's past, a little bit of Hulk's rage as well, for some things of his life. And here at Live and Uncensored, I tend to ask some of the tough questions sometimes. So now we tend to journey back in time. Now we tend to, before Mr. Amazing, we go back to little Mr. Amazing. You know what I'm saying? We go back to little Mr. Amazing, and what was life like for Mr. Amazing coming up? What was that experience like?
It was interesting. I'll say that. kind of typical family. Tough dad.
Right.
Tough mom. Brat sister. I was got two older siblings from my dad, but not the same mom. So they were, I didn't really meet them until I was older. But kind of like that.
Right.
Kind of a little talkative in school. Class clown. Call homes, you name it. Came up a long way.
that was probably all of us.
Yeah.
So your relationship with your parents was like, how would you say that was?
I want to say I related to both of them in different ways. I kind of adapted, parts from them.
Right.
Like mom's got my mom's sweet side. My dad's tough, dark side when it's needed. And I feel like it's a perfect balance. Because like a little bit of light and a little bit of darkness.
I mean, I feel like that
makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I feel like I feel like in a way that's why God gave us parents. Like he didn't make it a one-dimensional kind of thing. He made it to where like mom and dad are the ones that are supposed to raise the baby, because the way I look at it, you just made a valid point. You get mama's sweetness and you get dad's toughness. And that's the reason why, folks, you have to understand, this is why it's important to be there for your kids. And sometimes when you're not, the child has difficulty in its development, because mama's supposed to be there for the I love you sweet stuff, and dad's supposed to be there like, quit being a pussy, and just cheers you on. And that combination, in my opinion, creates the perfect kid and a come up, and that's why you don't get your weirdness and all your craziness and all this other stuff that you see going on now. And I know I can speak, folks, for Amazing when I say that we didn't come up with that slap on the wrist. Our parents coming up, they were tough on us to be better people and better kids, and that's why we've come out to where we have. So we don't even got to ask Amazing about that. What about in your studies? Were you a big fan of school? What did you like to study? You like to paint, music, sports? What was school like?
Basically, started off with sports. I actually played basketball in second and third grade. I kind of got kicked out in third grade because F started coming. Then I kind of stayed away from sports because the F's kind of stuck with me.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, because when you had F's, they didn't let you play.
Yeah.
Unless I don't know if it's like all schools.
Right.
Yeah. And then everyone likes three different things. English class, gym, and lunchtime. Those are the three best things.
Right.
So English class was my favorite. And then I discovered I was actually good at science. And it kind of caught me off guard. Because I was like, holy shit, I'm good at something. I'm taking advantage of this.
Yeah.
I went to science club, all that. Then the nerd started happening. Actually got honor roll for science. The only subject I got honor roll for.
Did they let you put together any experiments in class or anything like that?
Nope. It was never. Because I feel like it was a. I forgot what they called it. I don't know if they called it captain or like professor. They actually gave us a name. The person who be the second in command, like student.
Right.
He was a student that would be a second in command. They can come up with what we do, and I want to say they came up with like a greenhouse type of thing.
Mm-hmm. A greenhouse gas shit?
I never. Yeah, like they had what?
Oh no! Gas people.
No.
Let's not get into that again. Majestic Tokyo, I choose you. Yeah.
No. Can't be doing that out there.
All right. Yeah. Something else to add to that? You said you like science.
Yeah, well, I science, sports. Those were all the things I really liked.
Why?
Time was lazy time, so I fuck with that.
My thing, I like a little bit of science. I like a little bit of global. Like I like Like when I came up with the Kevin Impact thing, you know, that was more of environment type of thing. You know, I like the earthquakes and stuff like that. That's how it slowly progressed. And The Phantom of the Opera is one of the books that I read when I was in high school, and that's how I found this character and fell in love with that. And the Plague of Impact was because of the infection that spread, the Black Death that spread through Europe with the rats that came in the ships and brought it in, and I adapted that characteristic to my style and to my character and to my profile, you know, and you know, so like real quick, what, you know, was there something special about science that kind of you was like, oh, this is my thing, something you enjoyed about it specifically?
I feel like it started with nature.
So you had so you had like an appreciation through there.
I remember when I first planted. I want to say watermelon seeds. I don't know. Something about creation. And always fancy. And then I got into it in school, started planting and stuff. And they let us take home some plants.
That was your artistic side kicking in. Your artistic side was kicking in.
Another way to express myself.
Right. Did you ever do any painting or drawing? You fuck with that shit?
Yeah.
Because I used to draw when I was little.
I sucked at it.
You know, as time went on, you know, you get better. You know, you keep messing around. You know, I wasn't perfect, but I was decent. I used to make my own little JTV WrestleMania posters, and I put them up with me and King Leo. You remember him when he was around, King Size. You know, we used to do big pay-per-views like every month. At the end of the month, end of the month. Or I'm lying to you, it was for every WrestleMania. For every WrestleMania, every year that we did for JTV, we would make like a big poster, and everybody on the card, I would draw them on there. You know, and if I can ever get, I got a new machine now, so if I can get clear shots of it, I'll put it up for you guys to see, to back me up on that story. But yeah, I don't know, and I got that on you know, from my mom, obviously, who was a great artist, and she inspired me with that. She inspired me with a lot of things. She introduced me to Batman when I was a little kid, and many different things that she inspired me. The Warriors, you know, different things, and it was just a good little piece of history. And the reason this connects back to Mr. Amazing is because, you know, that's kind of like what I'm dissecting as I'm talking to him, those little bits of information that came out of all the things he did in his life that brought him to become Mr. Amazing, who he is today. So this is a great development, folks. This is a great interview here. I think I wanna maybe go into some of your health conditions. I think you know, what's like the worst set of medical conditions you've had in your life?
I want to say I feel like it's a tie between psychotic depression and like I'm a pre-diabetic.
Really?
Yeah, so I take metformin to control that.
Right. Psychotic depression.
Oh yeah.
For those people that are out there dealing with, that need to hear someone like you speak your mind about it, you know, I remember years ago you explaining it to me, telling me the stuff you had to deal with, the stuff that was going on with you. Tell some of the folks at home the stuff you had to deal with, and how does it affect you?
Well, I found out one thing. Shutting yourself away. This is actually for a lot of different, disabilities. Like mental disabilities. Don't shut yourself away. Don't always think that no one will know what to do. Because if you assume that, you're not going to be able to get help. Because open up your mouth once. And you don't know. You don't know what can happen. You can get all the help you get. You get a bit of it. Because it's like a sickness. You gotta. This is one you can't handle on your own. And it can be cured. Always remember that.
Good set of advice and stuff like that. But I remember you telling me that you was like hearing voices and different shit that was fucking with you for some time.
Yeah. Because not only do you have depression, but you can hear and see stuff that's not there.
Paranoia and everything, right?
Yeah.
Man, that's crazy.
You have to have a very good temperament. Because the more you control your emotions, the less you will hear and see. That's what I noticed.
Right. All right, fair enough.
It's quiet about it for a long time, bro. But when I spoke up, actually I didn't speak up. So I went actually had a mental breakdown. And they took me to a hospital. And that's where I got diagnosed. So yeah, you could always help yourself, man. I love yourself before you can love others.
You know, it's true. And
Right.
you know, I've been telling people the same thing also, that you gotta make sure you're all right first before you can help anybody else.
Right.
You know, it's like you deciding on whether you're gonna pay your cable bill or your rent bill. And if you think if you're gonna be smart enough to be like, well, I'll pay my cable bill first, so I don't gotta worry about it, dude. You always pay your rent bill, your cable. If you wait, I don't even gotta address that. You just made the point, right? Like Jesus, like you gotta use your head, folks. You gotta use your head. You know, man. All right, so. We had a good development, a good fundamental development for Mr. Amazing as everything progressed for him. And you know, we're still going through like that Bruce Wayne processing in this interview with Mr. Amazing. And I know you got some siblings. I remember you have a sister. Is it only a sister, or you got like a brother too?
I got step siblings. Brother and a sister.
Okay.
My pure blood sister. Yeah, she's still living.
So you got one pure blood sister.
Yeah.
And the rest of them have a different parent. You mean siblings?
Yeah. Same dad. Every month. I would have had two more, but
right.
You know, some have them.
Right. Stuff like that is always tough to hear. What is your relationship with your sister and them? The difference.
Let's say at first, you know, it could be bad. It was rocky. She would she would poke fun at me. I'll get mad or something. Throw something at her. And she'd be like, Mom, Dad. You know, hear that dope. You always hear that dope before you hear them steps. And I was like, oh, shit. And I was about to get beat. She's a little angel, so they had to protect her.
Right. That's how my shit was. I
used to try to set up traps.
Right.
Like I remember one time I put a chair on the balcony. And I put like a string on it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was gonna pull her off the balcony. And she would have sat in it. But she wouldn't sit down.
Nah.
It worked too, because I put a little weight on it. And the chair would be yanked. So I used to do shit like that.
Damn. And did you tell her about that?
I still haven't told her.
Well, she knows now, and she's here on the show. Bring her out. No, I'm kidding.
I remember one time I was like, I put water in the microwave. I put that shit really hot.
Goddamn, what the fuck?
I was trying to get. She drunk that shit. It spilled on her. She had to go to the hospital. And like, they thought my mom was beating her or something.
Right.
But even after all that, we came back and we close.
Yeah, it seemed like y'all close.
Yeah.
I think that's good. You know, and that's good. That's real great to hear all that. You know, maybe now I guess we'll focus on Mr. Amazing's pro wrestling career here. You know, that's enough information for you weirdos out there. You know. Yeah. So. You know, J-Kid doesn't exist yet. You're young. You're coming up in the world. You're you're getting into the wrestling or you're into the wrestling, you know, how does Mr. Amazing discover this passion? How does Mr. Amazing discover the wrestling? How does that start in your life before anything?
Well, Dad was a big wrestler, and he used to like choke slam me and stuff. And then when I got, I want to say 5 or 6, I started, trying to do moves, super kicks, hurricanranas. And then I just found out I had a passion for this. And I always wanted to be a wrestler. But I wasn't old enough to be a pro wrestler. But I could be an amateur wrestler.
Right, which you have been.
Then I started. Yeah.
He's wrestled, folks. Yeah.
Right.
Continue.
And I started doing that. This place called Turner Academy was like a Boys and Girls Club. And guy who did like little amateur wrestling with younger kids.
Right.
He started like I wanted to be in his group. I forgot what they were called.
Okay.
But I was so good actually. He wanted me to go on tour. But I was scared. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, you're young.
I can't. Yeah. So I want to say, I started that when I was like 8.
I feel you.
And that was real fun.
Okay. All right. That's some interesting information right there. And I was worried when I got in the ring myself. I didn't know what to expect. And just, you know, hearing stories about people died in that ring that I was in. It didn't scare me. It made me appreciate it. And for anybody that's never been in a ring, you get in the ring, you find out one thing: wrestling was 100% real. Everything hurts. Everything is physical, and you got to smash into that ring, and you got to eat it, and you got to work those ropes. And it's a 3 out of 10. And that's one thing that I'll tell you for sure. You know, both me and Mr. Amazing know what that's like. And you know, I just you grow a newfound respect for the thing.
That's true.
So you said you were 6 years old when it happened. The passion set in, right?
Yeah, you say 5 or 6. That's what I discovered. I really wanted to do. 8 is when I got an opportunity.
Okay, so you got the background. You tried the wrestling. You got the background. You went through the passion grew on you. And you had memories, you had experiences with it, all that stuff. When does the video gaming with the wrestling begin?
I want to say around 10 or 11.
And which is the first?
I don't know.
Which is the first game?
First, I want to say. Actually started off. Here comes the pain. I want to say I started off.
It's a good choice. A lot of people like that one.
Yeah. That's the first one I played. And I remember that was on PS2. And it was at my godbrother's house. He also had Nintendo.
Right.
And I want to say it had Raw on it. But he didn't know how to work. It didn't work. So what I did was I took the cartridge. I think I said it wrong.
Look, Welsh.
And oh shit. Did that summon him or calm him down?
Yeah. The well special guest.
Oh shit. It's good, Luke. Not your father, man. But like I took the you know how they say blowing in the cartridges. Like actually help the game work and shit.
Yeah.
Like I actually did that. And it made his game work. And I didn't even know that rule back then. It was just instinct. And then we used to play the old Raw. And I remember it was hard to do finishers. I used to use Nas Kane. The only one I could do finisher with. I didn't know anyone else's combos.
On Nintendo?
It's kind of like Mortal Kombat.
On Nintendo?
Yeah.
You sure it was Nintendo? I think it was Xbox. You said Kane.
I want to say it was Nas Kane.
Because if it was Nintendo, it would have, you got me thinking of the 90s Raw that came out that I have. But I don't think there wasn't a Raw specifically for Nintendo. It came out for the original Xbox. That's what that was.
Yeah.
Maybe you just have a memory like that. But yeah, I can definitely confirm for sure that the original there's a 1990s Raw that Nintendo, I'll give you it if you want to say that you played a Raw and you're like, I played a Raw for Nintendo. Okay, the only Raw I know is the original Monday Night Raw game that came out. Then after that, they remade a Raw game, but it was a modern Raw game that came out for Xbox, the original Xbox. And then like 1 and 2 came out for Xbox. 1 came out in 2001. The second one came out in like 2003 or 4, something like that. And before that, for any Super Nintendo, you would have had like a 1983 Raw or something like that that came out. So
I don't remember what it was called. I just remember saying Raw.
Yeah, maybe he had Raw and you played it, and maybe he had a Super Nintendo and you just have the memory that, you know, you played on the Super Nintendo. That's probably what it was, you know.
My main memory is like I had to do like codes to do finishes. It wasn't like one button.
Right.
And I could only do Kane's finisher. I didn't even know how to read it. So I would like do it by instinct.
All right.
I couldn't use any other character.
So slowly the progression was being made as he went into the Mr. Amazing phase. So past that, Here Comes the Pain was the beginning. Did you make Mr. Amazing on Here Comes the Pain, or when did you discover him?
I want to say I discovered him in SmackDown vs. Raw first.
So it took about a year. Took about a year before you found. Oh, okay.
When I found out, I was like, wow, all right, create a superstar. My guy was ugly as shit. My character was black. I didn't know how to change his skin color. It was bad. It was bad.
I remember I used to, like, every year I would make my character every year, and that would be a common thing. But I made other characters too. Did you make other characters?
Oh yeah, I never made Goku. Tried to make Broly. Broly didn't look right. Goku, he had his hair. Tried to make Vegeta, but it was horrible. I just had the scouter on him.
Okay.
I remember you got the scouter. I used to put the scouter on my character too.
Interesting.
I think the weirdest character I tried to make, I want to say it was Doomsday. That looked like Clayface actually. They know how to put spikes on them. They had some kind of shoulder spikes. They didn't have them in your hand, your knees.
Yeah, they were whack back in them days though. Because I used to make the Legion of Doom on Shut Your Mouth, and I was like, they look nice at the time. I bet if I look at them now, they probably look garbage. But at the time, it was like, yo, this shit look mad fire. And that's how it was back in the day. Like when I play Attitude or WrestleMania or No Mercy, I'm like, yo, this shit look mad fire. You look at that shit now, that shit look mad garbage. That's what that shit look like. But yeah, so. Okay, so we have everything established. We're building the base. This feels like Gotham right now. It's just the beginning.
Yeah.
So basically, let's see here as we move forward. You know, you started Amazing. You found them on SmackDown versus Raw more or less, and you're doing your thing for a little bit. You know. I'm guessing, I'm going to take a wild guess, and I'm going to say that the online thing for you started on SVR 2010. Or am I wrong? Or was it PS2? Okay, did you ever fought online on PS2? Did you ever fought online? Because I didn't.
No. I didn't even know I could until later.
Me neither. I found out years after.
It said online. I remember seeing it. I just didn't know what it meant.
Yeah. And I would see that it say online, and they gave you a little CD for it also to play online or whatever that was. And I never knew how to connect none of that. I'm like, oh well, fuck it, you know, GM mode or whatever. So as we progress into, man, like there's just no way we're not gonna be able to not talk about this. PS3, man. God damn, PS3, bro. Like they had.
I feel like it's turned up.
Yeah, they had all the tools, man. I think like when they had us, and I want this to go public with all of us. Like when PlayStation, when Sony had PlayStation, that it was free online. And we have PlayStation Home, you know. Shout out to PlayStation Home and shout out to PlayStation Free Online.
$200 more on that. I spent a lot of money on it.
When we had PlayStation for free, it made it unique, bro. It made it to where it's like, okay, so because I was on Xbox at first, because somebody lied to me and said, oh, if you get PS3, you can't play it unless you have an HD TV. Fucking lie. And if that person's out there listening, fuck you, die slow, bitch. But anyways, back to the topic at hand. When PlayStation 3 came out the first time, you know, it was a big deal, and it was like, I bought it obviously, but I was on Xbox because I'm like, look, I have to get a new system. I realized I'm like on SVR, whatever, and I'm like, look, if I don't upgrade to a new system from PS2, I'm not gonna be able to continue JTV. Because the next games are going to start coming out for the new systems. It's not going to drop for PS2 no more, which was bullshit because they kept coming out. But after a while, it stopped. So I was sold on it. So I'm like, look, I work hard. It's my first job. I'm working at Foot Locker. I'm going to get me Xbox, whatever. Okay. All right, so I get the fucking Xbox, whatever. And as I'm playing Xbox for about a year, I get a hold of PS3 or whatever. My boss actually brought it over to the house. I played it, and online is free. And I'm like, yo, so let me get this straight. So I'm paying $10 or more a month for Xbox, and if I go to PlayStation, I don't pay for online. I told all my friends, you know what I'm saying? I told all my friends, I'm like, yo, I'm out. You know what I'm saying? I see you. I left, and I bought me I sold my Xbox, bought me a PS3. So like the PS2, in my opinion, is the greatest system of all time.
Yeah.
Shout out to them. But the PS3, you gotta understand, Sony, that when y'all made it free for us, you made it to where, okay, it's not even. Sorry about that, folks. I moved the screen here. It's not even a choice. Like, you know, Xbox you pay for, PlayStation you don't. It's obvious. Oh, you do. It's simple, you know. But now it's like PS4. When you charge us for everything, bro, you're giving people options. Yeah. They can either go to Raw, they could go to Nitro now because they're doing that. But when it was free, it's like, oh, PlayStation, where it's at. So I think that I don't know. I think the PS2 is the greatest of all time. PS3 came in strong with a lot of its games. You know, some of yours too, DBZ and stuff like that included. Real quick before we move on, you know, what is it that drives you so much about the DBC universe?
That's a very good question.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like the action, the fighting.
The characters.
Just the character development. Yeah.
Right.
To see certain people come a long way like that.
They do come a long way.
Right.
Before they even came to America.
Yeah, I'm just like, man. And that's the first anime I really found out about.
Right.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Right.
And I was like, man. Bro, the shows I watched growing up, compared to this. You know, I watched all that. I watched Amanda Show, Keaton and Kel, shows like that. But when I found out about like the anime universe and like Marvel, DC, all that, I was like, yeah, I feel like I like these better.
Made your life worth living, made your childhood, and you come up special.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not just gonna buy wrestlers, I'm buying comics, I'm buying manga, all those.
Okay. So now we got all this information, all this established, and now we move into the systems, the prologues, and all this of Mr. Amazing, and now it's like you're competing online.
Yeah.
What's going on? Walk me through the experience. You know, you're now fighting online. You don't know no J Kid or nothing. You know, Obviously, online is bullshit. I can answer that for you because you got spammers and you got great wrestlers.
Big spam.
But were there anyone in SVR 10 who approached you and said, "Hey, do you want to be in my league?" Or did you go to anyone and say, "Hey, I seen this. I'd like to be in your league"? What happened?
Nope. I didn't find out about leagues till 11. This 10 was just me and Jay tag teaming, dominating every other team. Even spammers. We were killing everybody.
Okay, so we're going to skip 10 and we're going to go to 11 right when it started. So 2011 is going on. JTV exists, at least out in the world now. It exists and people have access to it, you know. So it's 2011. You got the league thing going on, and you got your cousin with you, and you guys are knocking shit out of the park. Again, do you go to a league or does the league approach you? How does it begin?
Well, that's when I don't know if communication is 110, but I really started paying attention to it in 11.
Right.
And I started watching shows and people's creation. And I would like when they let me edit it, I'll put my character. I'll put my character.
Right.
Then I discovered JTV, I see. And I was like, I gotta be into this. I want to say in one of the descriptions, one of you said join it. I hit them up. I want to say it said that.
Right.
Yeah. And I was like, oh yeah, it's gone. I'm doing it. That's the first league or show I actually tried to join.
So hold on, that's man interesting. So you didn't get into any leagues until you came here. This is the first place you went to.
Yep. First.
That's crazy. I didn't think you was gonna say that. I really thought you was like in like at least 3, 4, 5 different leagues before you came to these places, these locations. So that's crazy.
Oh my God.
So, all right. So we roll into JTV. We get to know J Kid and we know everybody else. You know, the territory is obviously much smaller than it is now. It's growing. You know what I'm saying? You got Corey Flash, you got Low Rider, you got Ray Geddes, I'm guessing, at this time. You know, the roster obviously wasn't as jam-packed as it is now. You know, you had your neutrals or your naturals, you had your Flash, and I don't think I had Phantom really run around like that, but, you know, Vice and Flash, you know, characters like that. You're rolling into JTV. I think from my memory, you know, like the memory that I have is like the 2012 memories. I don't have a lot of 2011 memories. I have the 2012 touch. And as we go into the 2012, you know, Amazing rolls in, and you obviously have your cousin with you. You have Anna with you, Amy Divine, whatever the fuck she wants to call herself, whatever the fuck. So you guys roll in, you know, and there's a lot of interesting Easter eggs at the time going on because, you know, Low was running the freak show. I'm like retired. Corey's like gone. This motherfucker's like, I don't know, Captain America fighting in the Navy or some shit. You know, King Leo is just gone. SYM is like, you know, not even a thing. Because, well, he never gave himself that opportunity, but it's not even a thing. And it's like, yeah, Ray Geddes is just like a logo maker, whatever the hell it is. He wasn't really competing. Or at the time, actually, Ray Geddes was exited, going into his own thing. So, you know, you and your cousin tag it up, and Amy Divine's thrown with you. You know, Amy Divine, man, Anna, how did that start? You know, you two obviously became closer, so how did that start? What is your memory of how it all started? Because
it was this league I was in. And I forgot what they were called. I'm in one of their Facebook groups. But I forgot what their name was. And I was messing with a few girls from that clan. And then I started messing with Amy Devine. And she was into a lot of stuff I was. Dragon Ball Z, wrestling.
Right.
Other anime, Marvel, DC.
Right.
So we started chilling on PlayStation Home, playing wrestling, playing Saints Row.
Yeah.
So that's how that kind of started.
So it was just like you bumped into each other in the indies, and you know, she was just like whatever, told you whatever, and I started just getting along, playing games, a little bit of a tribals, time on PlayStation Home, whatever, stuff like that, basic shit, like anybody else, like. So, you guys got closer and closer and closer, and we're not going to go too much into detail with her and all that. But it was like, she was tagging up with you guys for a little bit, and, this is kind of like DX and DX talking about China, and that's the reason why we're bringing that person up. That's what this is about. There was obviously different stuff that went on there behind the scenes, and like you did a lot, bro. Like straight up, to put it out there, you did a lot for this person, and this person didn't fucking appreciate it. You know what I mean? You put a lot on the line, and I don't know if you want to say that story about that shit that happened when you had the run-in with you got into some trouble and shit, and you was always going to go away. But I think you should at least say that part, and get that shit out there, because it's people need to know that shit.
Yeah. So me and Amy had a little argument. She cut me off. She wouldn't talk to me. And like a few minutes later, a dude I thought was my friend texts me and starts talking about her, saying you shouldn't talk to her like that, yada yada. She's with a real man.
Not knowing shit about it or his fucking business or nothing. Just butting in. Yeah, typical people.
Didn't hear both sides of the story.
Right.
So, and this guy lives around the corner from me.
Currently or at the time?
I'm talking shit. Yeah. I'm talking shit. He's not replying to me anymore. So I'm like, all right, I'm just get away from the game. So a few minutes after that, one of my cousins come knock on the door.
Yeah.
And I was pissed. So, yo, what's wrong with you, man? He just asked how I was doing, checking on me. So I was like, I'm about to beat this nigga's ass.
Mm-hmm.
And he instigates. He's like, all right, let's go. I was like, okay, I'm with it. So we walk up to his house. One of my other cousins is in the house with the dude. Both of them have their shirts on.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what? You were in a VC? And y'all got your shirts on? I know you got cameras. So I was like, all right, I want to fight you, man.
For real?
He was just laughing it off.
Because he was hitting her up, you had told me, right? He's trying to fucking do shit like that. Yeah.
Right. He always trying to pick on me and stuff. I was always the nice person laughing it off.
Right.
He always picks on my friends too. They would laugh it off. So I get mad and I just snap. And my cousin my glasses and go to work on them.
Right.
Then one of my cousins runs down the street. Like, yo, Hibachi, just beat this nigga's ass.
Mm-hmm.
So then the guy I fought, he just snaps and gets it back. And he comes out threatening me. I'm just on those on the porch people have those swinging chairs.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I was on that. I was having a ball. Like, I was like, yeah, I got all my anger out. I'm happy now.
Mm-hmm.
So then someone calls the cops, and my cousins make me go, and I skip home.
That's fucking crazy, man.
Yeah.
This man right here, Anna, if you get a hold of this, if you're listening, this is to you and anybody else out there, folks. When a man is willing to do something like this for someone that he's in love with, you fucking appreciate them, bro. You don't fucking let them get in trouble like that and try to put them in this predicament, man. You don't fucking do that. You don't. This man right here put himself in a real hostile, dangerous fucking situation for you to fucking laugh it off and not appreciate it and pull the shit that you did. We're not gonna make this about you, and we're not gonna slander you or none of that. But like I'm definitely gonna call you out on that one right there. You know, because this has been my guy for a long fucking time, and I know him since he was young. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna definitely show him some clout. Matter of fact, thank you, Mr. Amazing. Thank you. I'm not gonna say your name, but I'm gonna say Mr. Amazing. Thank you, Mr. Amazing, for doing that and being fucking real and showing love. Since that person is not gonna say it to you and you're not gonna get the appreciation this world owes you, I'm giving it to you now. Thank you. Thank you very much for the fucking stress that you went through because of that. And we move on. Alright. So, you know what I'm saying, the Amy Divine thing going on, whatever, you know, you get out of that whole fucking thing, you know, Mr. Amazing was here, he became the JTV tag team champion with his cousin, he had a decent run, stuff of that nature, you know, what's the deal with Anna? Anna, from my understanding, was like trying to talk you into leaving JTV and going to EWWE?
Yeah.
What's like, what, she was just trying to persuade you to bounce?
Yeah, it worked.
If I gotta be honest, I expected it to work. You know, when I was talking, and this is a little bit of me and you history now. When I was talking to Anna at the time, I expected that to happen. And there was a time when it kind of got really weird also, where between me and her, because she said, well, whatever the fuck it is. So she said that, like, you know, like, me. She said you went. Well, she said you and her weren't together anymore, or something like that, is what she had told me. You know what I mean? And we'll go.
It's true. It was true.
Yeah, I know it was. I know it was
with anyone else.
I know.
At the same time.
Yeah, like I know it was true, and we're not gonna go too much into detail to all that bullshit. I know it was true, but it's like the shit she pulled is what, you know, kind of whatever. So, you know, and you know what? We're not even gonna go into that because it's not even. She's not even that important. That whole thing is not important. You move past that. You know, you just go to EWWE and you do your thing there. You know, you step away from the limelight for a little bit. You reinvent to yourself in the independents, and then, okay, this is 2012. You reinvent yourself. We lose contact with each other for a couple years. You know, and here and there, I would occasionally bump into your channel or hear from you in some capacity. And I could swear, like, I spoke to you or heard from you, or we had some from a contact in like 13 or 14 or like 15, something like that. I know 15 was when I went looking for you, but we lost contact for like a couple of years. And you know, the big return, Mega Rush 100. You come back in, you know what I'm saying? Simulation shit with Slade, you know what I mean? That whatever. But when you came back, you had a lot of passion. You had a lot of it in your heart. You know, you showed me that you felt good being back, that it was something special to you. You know, because when I brought you back in, I thought to myself, okay, so I don't know, he doesn't really want to work with me. He doesn't give a shit, and you know, he's probably gonna quit. He's just gonna come back, be like, yeah, you know, do some shows, and then he's just gonna ignore me and quit. And this is what I thought, and that's not what happened. What happened was, we came in a party just like this. We started talking about it, and you lost it. You just started showing so much passion. You were just so hyped, and I was like, oh shit, like I didn't expect that.
This is what I wanted it to be.
Right. And it was a whole new wave because now we're on YouTube, and it's like resources and all these people that you wound up meeting that made it special for you. You know what I mean? And despite the fact that things are the way they are now, you know, we still can't erase time and the great memories that were created in history. You know, the good moments that occurred. You know, such great. I mean, you've had the opportunity to work with so many great talents. You know, tell me about that. Tell me about some of your favorite talents in your career that you've had the chance to work with, and you know what that means to you.
So
So
I want to
I want to
first
first
say
say
Dre, my
Dre, my
cousin.
cousin.
And
Yeah.
then
And then
me and him would
never
never
fight
fight each
each
other.
other. Right.
Like
Like
we just
we
wouldn't.
just wouldn't.
But when we
But when
first
we first
did,
did,
we
we
actually
actually
never fought in
never
the
fought in
show.
the show.
This
That
would
this
just
would
be
just
like,
be like,
you know,
you know,
off
off
camera.
camera.
I feel
I
like
feel like he just
he's like a
he's
different
like a
piece to
different
the
piece to
puzzle.
the puzzle. Right.
He
And
knows
he
what to
knows what
do.
to do. Hmm.
So like
So
our
like our
matches,
matches,
I just
I
felt
just
like if
felt
it
like
would have
if it would have
happened in
happened in
JTV or
JTV
something,
or
like
something, like yeah,
that would
that would
have
have
been
been
one of the
one of the
greatest
greatest
matches you
matches
probably
you
would have
probably
seen,
would have seen,
man.
man. Right. Because
Just
he
we
was
knew
at
each other so well.
he was at the very beginning before you started connecting with all of us. Like he was right there at the beginning. You guys had to work together to build that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know, I think that's an important piece of information. You know, so he's like what your favorite person to work with thus far as like the whole thing. He brought out the best side of you. Why specifically him, or he's just someone you're shouting out, or what?
Yeah, I feel like it's a mixture.
Okay.
Giving him a shout out because he did bring out
bring
different
out
side of
different
him.
side of him.
Because in the beginning, Amazing didn't have that. He didn't have that aggressive side. He was just. I would just more like more of a showboat.
Yeah.
And of course, I had to learn how to, you know, how to still succeed while talking shit. If I'm talking shit and I'm losing, that can't really make it.
Yeah, it's not gonna take you nowhere.
Very
big weakness of many. Right.
And I feel like Dre, because we trained so much. I just learned how to face it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the same on my part.
The whole Marty Jannetty, Shawn Michaels thing, the back and forth. That's cool. Right. I mean, I would have liked to have seen you guys going. I mean, we did one match in 2012, and it was, you know, the exit. But you know, the whole cousin family turning on things, you know. And of course, it was my decision. That wasn't on you guys. You know, it was my decision just because of the fact that, you know, you were headed out of the door and whatnot. You know, you were getting ready to leave, so I turned you guys on each other, and then he decided to leave. You know, Anna I think had already left or defected because originally for Showdown 1, Anna was supposed to come in with you guys, but she never got to debut. And I'm sorry that we keep going back to that, but it's just, you know, it's Mr. Amazing story. She was supposed to be there and she wasn't because of, you know, the shit she pulled. So it was just about you guys, the Wright cousins. And, you know, that was the only time we got that. It would have been good to have some of that stuff on tape in this era, you know. So I think that's cool. That's a good little piece of history to bring him up because I remember him well, you know. Former JTV Tag Team Champion with you. Good shit. I mean, goddamn, man, I feel like we don't have enough time here. There's so much to dissect with Mr. Amazing. Like, you know, like so many things that have happened. Shit. You know, I think before we sight of it, I think I'll take some questions here now. I think I'll look through some of the questions here now. So we got Funkman said how long Mr. Amazing's been JTV, how long you've been back. I think you covered that already in what we've been talking. We got Corey Flash, you know, what is your inspiration for the wrestling business? I think you covered that already. Pretty much. We got let's see, Funkman be killing me. Oh, Funkman be killing me. How is it that you're gonna ask? How is he gonna ask how Mick Foley lost his in ring? Funkman, what does that has to do with Mr. Amazing? Oh my God, you got me dying, yo. All right, all right. You got Marcus Storms there who wants to ask you about Crash and Mr. Amazing. I never seen a whole lot of that. That went on in the Indies. You know, what do you think about that? Some of the back and forth with him.
Like Crash is kind of a spammer.
Oh my God.
He could get a lot of better. I feel
I
like he's more better with the Super Bowl.
Oh. You got that man dying right now. Oh my God. What about all right, come on now, don't pick on Crash like that. All right, so you got BCW president Craig Mack. Craig Mack wants to know, Mr. Amazing have any interest in BCW? You ain't working on no BCW right now, right?
No, I don't think I work with them. But it'll be cool though.
Well, yeah, you know, he said it'll be cool. So, you know, you get in contact with Mr. Amazing privately, and you know, if it piques his interest, he'll work with you. You know.
Right.
Could we ever see Marcus Storm versus Mr. Amazing? I think that's a big question mark right there. Big question mark on that one. How the name Mr. Yeah, how did you get the name Mr. Amazing? Do you remember?
It actually started in when I first created my character. But it wasn't Mr. Amazing. It was half man, half amazing. So I would call myself that.
I kind of remember that.
Yeah. I would call myself that. And my dad is the one who actually said Mr. Amazing.
Right.
Because he used to call me Mr. Right. Because you know he would talk about how I would carry the name. I'll continue the name and stuff like that. So then he started calling me Mr. Amazing. And I was like, oh, I like that. And JTV, the name Amazing one kind of got picked up.
Yeah.
So that's the story of that.
Amazing one, without question. So we got Shendon out there asking, what do you think about taking on Shendon? What do you think of him? I know you excited.
Hell yeah, I want to fight you. I kind of lost the opportunity to face another undefeated person. But Slade, I would like to face you, man.
Well, you know, you can't face Slade if he's a quitter. You know, he might have the match go down and then he won't show up. You know, I'm not a big fan of that kind of stuff. You know, you can't get anywhere in life if you quit. You know, but well, there you are, Shendon. You know, you got potential match in the future. You know, we got the super athlete who has a good question. You know, he wants to know what about Mr. Amazing? What Mr. Amazing wants to do now, and where does he want to go? I mean, you got that title shot coming up. This Mega Rush, folks, here live. Kevin Impact will be hosting Mega Rush 114 live from Cincinnati, Ohio. Mr. Amazing King Wolf, #1 contenders match for a shot at the World Championship belt. So, what do you? Where do you?
Original goal? I'm gonna say it was to actually be amazing everywhere. My current goal is obvious. I want to beat Wolf. And then I want to beat Drastic.
Get that title.
I can say I was world champion in most shows I was in. But I can't say I was world champion at my home. And that's about to change, Dras.
Moment of silence for that. We got Trey Jeter. Your feelings on WWE? You've wrestled there.
That kind of goes back to my original goal. It's another place. I haven't been there. I want to give it a try.
Right.
I'm actually rocking with it. There's a few shows. I'm not gonna name them, but there's a few shows that I want to give a chance. That's kind of not piquing my interest. But I can honestly say that WWE is one of them I actually like.
Right. Absolutely. Looking at all these comments here coming in, you know, you got Corey Flash, who wants to, you know, he's looking to fight you sometime, you know. Zay and
one of my favorites when I first entered the company. So I'll say that honestly. King size, Corey Flash, Bison, or when he was Bison.
Shendon got a good question right here.
Flash.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nah, continue.
Yeah, those were my favorites. Couple going into JTV. I don't think I had. Only when I got the fight was Corey.
Who was your hardest opponent? Shendon wants to know, who was your hardest opponent in JTV? Who do you think gave you a run for your money?
It's all right. I'll be honest. It's a match that I don't know if I can bring this up here.
You can say anything you want. No matter. Talk about whoever you want.
It's a match that didn't make it to the television.
Okay.
It was that match versus Marcus Storms.
Okay. Match versus
one of his hardest matches.
You mean matches with Marcus Storms?
No, that one. The last one we had. I forgot what show.
I don't remember, but I would have to take your word for it because he was damn good. I definitely won't take that away from him. He was a solid in the ring. Still is, I'm sure. He was a good worker, great wrestler. You know, he as far as the wrestling stuff, as far as what he did, he definitely was good. And he was definitely headed in.
Oh, that wasn't the JTV. That was WWE.
Okay, so WWA with Marcus Storms.
Yeah, that was in. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So WWA matches with Marcus Storms. Okay, so that Shendon that was like his hardest opponent right there. And I know he's harder because that motherfucker right there is hard to knock down. You know, he kicks the fuck out.
Yeah.
You know, he was. I'll give you that one. I'll definitely chip in for that.
That's
right. Also extravaganza.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, you're right. That was a great match.
Yeah.
That was a great match. Yeah, that was a great match. The match is still there. You know, we'll bring that out sometime. Put that out in public.
All right.
Yeah, that was good shit. Shit. So you want to get the world championship belt? Obviously, you said that. See yourself having a potential match with Shendon. You know, man, it's just, you know, I guess the sky's the limit. You know, there's a few things specifically though that you obviously want, and I guess those are it right there. Moving forward, do you see yourself, you know, pursuing other ventures such as maybe JTV Films? Maybe you work into, I mean, you got Streets of Rage coming out with me. That's going to be a big deal once we drop it. But, you know, you want to see yourself, I'm sure you want to see yourself having your own shit, your own film, you know. Okay, so so you get your own film, right? What do you want to do? You want to do comedy, action, horror? What do you want to do? Romance?
I feel like I like to do superhero movie.
We have been talking about that. DC.
Yeah, I feel like I like to star that.
Speaking of that, I feel like the Stan Lee show kind of teased that a little bit. What did you think of the production on that?
Honestly, that was probably my favorite match back. My favorite event.
It was like a highlight. I felt like it was a highlight. You know.
You notice how comfortable I felt, you know, playing the superhero.
You became absorbent, man, and you took on Thanos.
Right.
I am inevitable.
Squash that, man, everyone. Everyone to know that.
Get ready for them King Wolves comments.
I know he wish he could snap that out of reality.
Yeah, I love the Stan Lee show. I was happy that everybody.
I had my favorite editing too.
It was crazy. It was definitely crazy. I was worried that I was gonna fuck it up, but I was like,
had a story too.
Yeah, it was just it worked out. I was like, you know what? Like, I'm proud of this because we gave him a good tribute. And shout out to Stan Lee. We're gonna put your ass in the JTV Hall of Fame for the next one. No doubt.
Definitely.
But I'll keep you in mind as the inductor, D-Man. But yeah, like man, like I was happy with that, and I was glad that everybody was so proud and happy with it because I did not want to let nobody down. I was like, look, I need to do the best that I can because this needs to work, and it worked.
Yeah.
It worked. We gave it that comic book look, you know, which was unique. We gave it a good show, great matches, great card, great talent. You know, it was just that's a memory that I'm gonna hold on to. You know what I mean? And I'm glad I was able to be a part of it because it was never planned for me to open up like that. You know, it all just worked out. It looked like a real fire-ass action movie, like a comic book movie, like a Marvel film. It was just fire. It was just perfect.
Right. All it made me wanted to be in one more.
Right. So, shit, man. Shit, I guess we take some more questions, I guess. You know what I'm saying? We're at the hour mark here, you know, but we own the network, so we do whatever the fuck we want. We got King Wolf. What do we got? Shannon King Wolf versus Mr. Amazing Showdown 4. What do you think of that?
Ooh.
I'm down with that.
All right. First, let me say this. When I first heard of Wolf, and I thought about facing him, I was like, why would I ever face someone like that?
Yeah.
I thought he was. I'm not gonna lie. I thought he was a noob.
Right.
I was like, without draft school, rest in peace.
Yeah.
But he definitely proved me wrong. Wolf got way better. He stepped his dick up. Allowed me to say that.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, I would like to face him, man. I look forward to facing him soon.
Showdown 4, King Wolf versus Mr. Amazing. That would be a big deal. I've been trying, you know, I know I popped up at Chemical Warfare and whatnot, and life is what you make it. You know what I'm saying? But I'm trying to stay away from that main event, dog. You know, I was fortunate enough to main event my first Showdown. As much as some people think I give myself everything around here, I main evented my first. Let me see. Turned off. We had Flash and Ray Getty. Showdown 1, you had Corey Flash and Flash. Showdown 3, you had me, Penn, Cliff, and Flash, I think, for the world title belt. That was my first ever Showdown main event, and I was able to retain the world title belt. That was the last time, and it means something to me. I'm not trying to get into that main event this year and steal that. It's time to make new memories. And I think that, you know, we can go into the WWE if you'd like. The WWE, you know, that's Vince McMahon, that's part of his issue of what he's having. You want to bring back your Goldbergs and all this stuff, and you want to put Brock and all these people in the main event. Bro, you need to make talent. You have got to be comfortable with putting your Drew McIntyre, your Ricochet in the main event and putting them over. You can't just have Goldberg and all these people go over all the time. It's not going to be about Kevin Impact, this Showdown. It's going to be about the guys that need to be. You know what I'm saying? And like, I'm with that all the way. You know, and a lot of people have been talking about this, you know, and me and SYM feel the same way. Mr. Amazing has been around long enough. You know, you deserve it. And I wanna talk about, you know, because straight up, Mr. Amazing was fucking screwed at Chemical Warfare. Mr. Amazing showed me evidence that he won the 6-man ladder match for the world title belt. He won, but the game sort of fucked him over out of it, and it said he didn't, and he got pulled down. Whether it was Azrael, whatever the case happened, he was still pulled down when he won, and he showed me. And that's the reason why I decided as the founder that he deserves a #1 contenders match. He deserves his chance to show you what he's got, which he's done that for years. You know, whether he was here or not, he reinvented himself. So I give this man a lot of praise because, you know, he's a major deal, and I think that he deserves his opportunity. So for anybody that's kind of putting that in question, like, look, Wolf and Amazing deserve that spot. I'm not going to argue with that Draskell deserved to win the championship. I'm not going to say that that's not right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know, Drasko's been around long enough. It's good that he's the world heavyweight champion. Kudos to him. But at the same time, you know, yeah, go ahead.
I will admit that I was happy he came back. Because I actually wanted him to be one of the members of that match.
Right.
As much as I didn't like the results, glad he's back.
Right. And I'm hearing that from a lot of people. You know, there's a lot of mutual love here in the locker room going around. And, you know, that's good. I think it's always been that way. You know, so that's a good thing. It was a hard-fought battle for you, obviously. I mean, what did you think of the match? What, you know?
Well, I felt like I could have did more. Not only win, but I just felt like I came up short. And Amazing doesn't do that.
Absolutely.
So that's why I'm looking forward to my upcoming matches, so I can make up for it.
Yeah, because, you know, you wanted to get back at Cliff and Recto, despite the fact that VIP fucked up that match with you and Jay Rio in the tag. You know, it was a fairly good match, minus the vulgarity that was taking place. You know, you was able to get, regardless, you was able to get them back, which you wanted to do that. You know, and you got to mess with the Skull Brotherhood a little bit. You got a piece of the corpse. You know, but it's like, man, like, I came so close. I worked so hard in that match, you know, not to be the world champion. And it's like, now you have the opportunity to make a wrong right. What fire and intensity are we going to expect from Amazing this Mega Rush? Just because of that.
Well, I don't want to spoil anything, but I just want to say, we're going to find out.
Spoiler alert.
I don't want to give anything away. I have something planned for Wolf.
Spoiler. Mr. Amazing wins. Tune in. So, I think that's going to be a major deal right there. I'm excited about that. I'm excited about this Mega Rush. It's going to be a big deal because Kevin Impact is going to be in the building. You got King Wolf's first known appearance. You know he's going to be there. We didn't know he was going to be there last time. You know, Drasko's return, because this is his official return to Mega Rush. You know what I'm saying? And just a lot of names that are going to be there, you know, to make it a big show. So it should be really exciting. I'm excited about it, you know. You know, you got so much to accomplish, so much to do, and you have an opportunity to make everything wrong in the world right with this Mega Rush, and just enjoy this lucrative career that you've had. Like, man, like, I think I'm good. I think I'm good with this episode. If anybody has any other questions, last little questions before we wrap up here. Mr. Amazing is talented. That's why I'm looking forward to facing him one day. I like facing talented players, and he's one of them. And shout out right there. Gave you some clout. That boy Shendon. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that was Shendon. For sure. Funk Man said you and him, you know, future match.
Oh yeah.
Funky Man, the big deal, baby.
Yeah, title on the line, man.
You know, he's come up, man. He's come up. He's been winning his matches, and I'm proud of him. Been doing his thing.
Yeah. Respect, bro.
Trey Jeter versus Mr. Amazing. Thoughts on that?
Well, honestly, I feel like Trey's been around in several leagues, industries, but I feel like he got a long way to go to face me one-on-one.
Right. You say he's got to work at it. You said.
Yeah, I feel like
okay.
If it happens now, I don't feel like you'll make it, man.
Well, what about as far as his attempt at the pay-per-view? What did you think about his attempts, you know, in that match?
I do feel like you can tell he wants it.
Okay.
But I feel like he not only has to work harder to face, anyone he wants to. He has to work harder to just shine. Because there's a lot of sharks in this scene.
Well, it appears that way. You know, the roster is bigger than it's ever been, and I'll be honest. You know, right now, it's you know, both shows are packed. and it's getting a little tough to book people because there's so many people, and I'm considering actually making Mega Rush 3 hours because there's so much damn people. We might have to like instead of 6 matches per show, we might have to start having 7 or 8 because it's just up there. You know, and that's not to brag, but at the same time, shout out to all of us because we deserve it. We work so hard to make this show what it is. Shout out to all of us. This is our accomplishment. So, yeah, a lot of people want to come to JTV. We're still signing talent and working with people and stuff of that nature, different emotions going on. You got to expect a lot of emotions when you got a big roster like that. So, you know, I think that it's going to be fun and interesting, man. You know, we're at 20 minutes here. And at this point, I think I'm just going to, let's see. I think... Well, Shendon, he's kind of answered that question already as far as what his goal is. You can go back and watch this or listen to this interview after we wrap up here. But, yeah, I think I'm going to thank you for your time, man. I want to thank you for being a guest here tonight on the show. I mean, it was hella fun. I hope you enjoyed it. I think we learned a lot about Mr. Amazing and where you're headed and what you feel. Definitely come back and join us, man. We're going to talk about some more stuff. I like to go more into detail into the comic book world and about different heroes. I think it's fire that, you know, I was able to find out more about you and how, you know, you have a connection with the Hulk. I didn't know that. I always learn something new from everybody. So I think that was real cool. You know, I think it'd be real good. You know, so, yeah, man, I think that's pretty much it right there. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it right there. I'm going to hang on in here and take some questions and probably explain some things into our next episode. But you're good to go, man. I want to thank you. I appreciate the time.
All right. Thanks for having me. Thanks everybody for tuning in and asking all your questions. If you have any more questions, hit me up personally. I got you.
Well, before you go, is there something else you'd like to say? Something you'd like to cover publicly?
Well,
it'd be anything you want. That's fine.
I think I said everything. I said my goal, my first goal, my current goal.
Right.
That's pretty much it.
All right.
Actually, wait.
Oh, okay.
There is something I do want to say. Have an impact. I would like to face you. One-on-one.
Okay. I mean, that can happen.
Have a four-way once.
That can happen. That can happen. I mean, everybody wants to fight me, you know, but yeah, you know, I do feel like, you know, we need to have a good showdown for TV so people can get accustomed to this good wrestling and know, you know, what's spam, what's not, what works, what makes sense, you know, the psychology behind what we do. Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, me and you and your history is always a fantastic little history, you know, that it's like, man, like coming up, you know, we've learned so much of each other. You know, there was something you offered me when you came in, you know, just to be able to feel like the old me again coming up when I was Kevin Homie Jr. in the Warzone days. Just that because I used to be Mr. Amazing back in the day. I was flamboyant. Well, not flamboyant, but arrogant and flashy, and you know, I was in DX, so it was a lot of arrogance and trash talk and high flashy moves, you know, the Hurricane Ranas, the crucifix, the dive through the ropes, the stuff that Amazing usually does. I used to do a lot more of that back in the day, and occasionally now you'll catch me doing it from time to time. You know, I don't fly too much anymore, but I used to back in your time, and when you came in, you brought that back out of me. And, you know, of course, you know, remember, you know, I demanded the best out of you. 3 out of 10, I'm like, look, you know, none of that fucking Randy Orton RKO. None of these poses. Like, you're Mr. Amazing. You're going to be unique. You're not going to come.
Tell them about that. Those days.
You can say whatever you want, man. I keep telling you. This is open mic. We run this show. Whatever you want to talk about.
Right. When I first came in, I was a Randy Orton knockoff. It was bad. I had the haircut. Tried to have a theme song, moves. I didn't use any moves that I felt passionate about. I just felt like this is who I have to be to make it. And as I progressed, Someone put me in my place.
and
then I start shining as myself. And I want a lot of people
could take that advice.
You can shine as yourself. You don't need to use popular moves. You don't need to use.
You don't have to
you don't
have
tattoos all over your body.
You don't have
You don't have
to
to
wear
wear
some
some
demon
makeup
or
or nothing like
that. You could be
that. You can be
yourself.
yourself.
You could be
You
happy.
can be happy.
And you could be
You can be
victorious.
victorious.
That's pretty
That's much it.
Well, that was some more good advice. Good little trip back into time. And shit, we had a lot of shit we've come up with over the years, you know, and we're gonna have to save some of that shit for the next time you come around, man. You know, we can't give them give it all to them here now, man. They loving it right now. Look at this crowd. You know, they just fucking loving this thing right now. So yeah, man. You know, like once again, I don't want to be like one of those people that's like keep saying goodbye, and you know you got to say goodbye 19 times before you leave. So this is it right here. We want to thank Mr. Amazing for being the guest here on tonight's show.
We're talking to you.
Good stuff, and yeah, we will set him up for a future visit. But on our very next episode, we're going to have episode 4 of Live and Uncensored in about 2 or 3 weeks. And our special guest is going to be none other than the man that this man is going to compete against at this Mega Rush is going to be the JTV total champion, King Wu.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Next episode, King Wu. I wonder if he's going to say, I wonder what he's going to say if he's going to take any shots back at you for going in on him. You know, but... yeah, that's pretty much it right there, folks. I don't know if I want to take any questions or if we just want to wrap up here. Mr. Amazing is obviously all done. He could leave the building anytime he wants, or he could stay there. It's probably take some more questions if you guys want. So we'll let the crowd decide. Do you guys have any more questions for Mr. Amazing, or do you think I should stay and take some more questions of my own? Let the crowd pick. Unlike what Vince McMahon be doing. You know.
Sadly true.
He gonna sign everybody back, you know, while they're all coming up with their questions and thinking, you know, like Vince, man, like, god damn it, you know, you're out here. He's wanting to sign everybody just because his ratings are down. They try to not make a big deal out of it, but you're nervous, bro. You're scared because AEW, All Elite Wrestling, is in town and they're signing your talent. Yeah, and these niggas are scared and shit, you know? And it's like, yo, like, if you're not scared and you don't care about ratings, or why you bringing people back? So now, Kofi Kingston, who's the first WWE World Champion in history, is going to get buried and is going to get the shit taken away from him, like I said, because they're bringing Goldberg in to squash him so he could fight Brock again. Like, nobody want to see that, bro. Nobody does not want to see that garbage ass shit. Go ahead.
Yeah. It's like they'll give us what we want
for like
2 weeks.
And then someone
that
either some new people that no one wants to see. Or
someone old who
already had the
opportunities takes away something from someone who's been working hard that we actually like.
Right.
That's the problem.
I want them to prosper, but
it's just to make
bad choices.
I want them niggas to stress. I want them to lose Dean Ambrose and everybody like they already had, so they step their game up and wrestling can be good again. That's why I'm getting me that PlayStation View, because I'm gonna start watching the shows. I'm gonna start watching wrestling again. So, cause I don't have any cable. I don't work with cable. You know, I don't like them. So I'm gonna give me the PlayStation View, and I'm gonna come out the pocket just so I can have TV again, so I can watch Walking Dead and all the wrestling and the AEW when it gets on TV and stuff. I mean, can't watch Gotham no more. My show is over. But you know, I could watch other shit though. Maybe when you watch Gotham, you come back around. We talk about that and what you thought about their whole run and the ending. You know, we'll do that.
All right.
Okay, so what do we got? We got some more questions here. Let's see. Fun man wants to see Ray Getty's on the show. Could there ever be a former JTV talent on Live and Uncensored? Anybody can come on this show that we feel can come on the show. I mean, you can't put in requests, but we will have random people who will be invited as special guests to come on the show. Amazing versus Babyface. Oh no, come on, Shendon. Shendon suggested Mr. Amazing versus Big Baby at Ultimate Showdown 4. Come on, guys.
Oh, hell nah.
Come on, man. That match will be over in one move, and you know the move.
Right.
Boom, knockdown, 1, 2, 3. So, yeah. Yoxie.
Dexter Crabs versus
Let's see all these comments here.
That's the first thing I see.
Battle of the Homeless. Well, I didn't even know. I didn't know Jackson Crabs was
fighting for blocks.
Oh my god.
Don't fight for dumpsters.
I can't do this shit.
Ooh. Would I ever want to be a part of a faction?
I'll tell you, before he answers that question, this man right here, to me, he's always been like Goldberg. Will he ever be a part of a faction? He was a part of a faction. He was in the Right Cousins with his cousin in the past. But before he answers the question however he wants, from my understanding, it just doesn't seem like it's a him thing. He's always been by himself. He's always been alone. You have to understand that about the character. Now, Amazing will take over and tell you what he thinks about that and answer your question. So, here we go.
All right. So at first, I would have yeah, of course. Now, already. The reason I wanted to be alone at first because I wanted to prove it not only to everyone else but myself that I could be amazing on my own. But I've grown accustomed to it. I don't feel comfortable with teams anymore. Factions. That's why I don't want to be in one.
Right.
I can change my mind in the future. Right now, nah.
I really liked that Mega Rush that we recently did. I think it was 113. Yeah, it was the last one. Last Mega Rush we did before Chemical Warfare. I like the little cutscene we had with you and Funkman and them backstage. I thought it looked like SVR. I love that shit. It looked fire the way y'all was all talking to each other. Yeah, and you was being put on the spot and everything. You was like negative, you was telling them what it is, and I was like, yo, that's fire, yo. How do you cut a man off latte? How you do a latte? So I thought that looked real good. And reasons like that, I'm sure why Amazing is probably here. He knows that, with the exception of Real Fruity and everything that happened at Chemical Warfare, I'm not a big fan of destroying talent on there. We have our fun and take our shots or whatever, but, even Ray Getty's, for example, when he was going to retire Showdown 2, we wasn't on the best of terms. I still gave him a proper send-off. He got to drop Wiz Khalifa. He got to drop Nathan Vaz, I think. And he got to drop Morgan Freeman. You know what I mean?
Had some good matches on camera.
Raging Redneck, I thought he had a real simplistic style. He was always afraid to go up. Didn't want to move around a lot because he was like, he didn't want to fuck up. He didn't want to botch or not necessarily botch. He just didn't want to miss a move or screw himself. Like, he would stand still. And I don't like being afraid of nothing. I like using the whole ring, the turnbuckles, the ropes. That's how I love to wrestle. I love using everything. I love going outside. I love fighting on the stage. Like, when I was coming up, my era when I was coming up, I'm used to Rock and Austin fighting on the stage, and it looked good. And then they go back in the ring. Like, that's my shit, So I'm a former tag team champion with the Raging Redneck, and, I thought the stuff he did was all right. He got to accomplish stuff. He was tag team champion, world champion. Good for you, Ray. Good for you, Ray. But it was what it was as far as his skill and whatnot. And this is about you. This is not about him. But this is just as far as the what he offered me and what he offered you in the ring. I never got to I don't think I've ever wrestled Ray Geddes anywhere, but we've tagged it up. You know, so I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't know. That's what I think. What else we got here? Corey Flash versus Mr. Amazing and JTV.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I'm sure Mr. Amazing would be happy to do the match. More than willing. Really wants your thoughts on that. Really wants your thoughts on what? What Amazing? Okay. Dream versus Amazing.
Honestly, I don't even know Dream. I don't even know who that is like that.
You've never spoken to him in any part or anything?
Oh yeah, but like we haven't really been on wrestling.
Okay.
Really on GTA.
Oh, okay. So he doesn't. He's not well known with Cassidy Dreams like that. You know. Let's see what else. Amazing tag team call. Okay, Funk Man. Amazing form a tag team called Self Amazing. I don't know.
Amazing.
Change that to Bad Company influence. I don't know. Funk Man. I don't know what the hell Funk Man. I don't know. The fun to time, but.
Funk's a cool dude.
I love Funk. I'll do just about anything for Funk, man. You know, he's a good kid. So. Well, folks. Yes, I see that. Folks, I apologize for lying again. I said that would be it for Amazing, and I lied. So, you know, this time around, I'm going to make it. Let me try to make it. I'm going to make it. All right, Amazing. Thank you for being on the show here tonight. We're going to wrap up here. Thank you for being a guest. And good luck with your #1 contender match. I'll see you at 114. And I get some bad bitches and a couple of drinks ready for you.
See you then.
All right, buddy. Turn up. You already know.
Amazing out.
Amazing out, folks. Leaving the building there. All right, so that was Mr. Amazing. He is officially left. I see that up there on top of the screen. You guys can't see it because you're not in here. But that was a good show. And, man, like, yeah, live and uncensored, anything can happen. You obviously got a cameo from Luke Welsh earlier. You know, anything can go on. And, you know, there's no retakes. There's no edits. There's none of that. There's no bullshit. As you've heard here, you know, we spoke our minds. So, again, thank you to Mr. Amazing for being a guest on the show there. And I had a lot of fun doing that. So, at this point, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to maybe take some questions about 114, you know, if anybody wants to ask questions about that or maybe something else. And I'll give you guys about 3 minutes here to talk to me, and I'll give you about 3 minutes to talk to me, and then I'm going to wrap up here, all right, guys? So, what do we got? Who wants to talk to me? Trey versus Red Shoes. Funk Man in the party. Where y'all at? We live on YouTube. What y'all got for me? Anybody else? Give me them questions. Do I got a match in JTV Mega Rush? Yes, you do, Funk Man. Funk Man will be competing in a weapons match on 114 against an Extreme wrestler. Well, not an Extreme wrestler, Funk Man. You're going to be taking on Bobby Rainey. That's VIP's cousin. So it will be a weapons match, VIP one-on-one with Bobby Rainey, who will be returning to JTV after a minor sabbatical this episode. I'm going on my last minute here. Any more questions? I'm here to encourage all of you to subscribe to the channel, show some love, help us promote JTV. If you want JTV to get out there, you got to share. got to spam it all over the place. You got to encourage people to watch. And that's why we're doing this, because if we want to get out there, we got to work at it. You can't just rely on me to kind of just get it out there. If you wanted to get out there, help get it out there. Okay, you want to form a tag team? I say he can form a tag team named BCI. That sounds awkward, Funk Man, but yeah, shout out to you on that. Any other questions here? I got 20 seconds for you guys. One more question? Yes. See you soon, Kevin. Watch your back. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for threatening me publicly, Shendon. That means a lot. That means a lot to me. Yes, very nice. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap up here with that. Thank you for listening in. I hope you enjoyed it. See you on episode 4 with King Wolf. I'm out of here. Top that. See you down the road, amigo. Well, now the last second, y'all want to drop 3 questions. I'll put Dreams on the next episode. Well, we've already confirmed Wolf for the next episode, but I keep you in mind, Dreams. I keep you in mind, Pam. I give you some clout. All right, guys. See you later.